So I am going to do a short on why I don't have gutters. Are gutters necessary? Not necessarily. So here we have a phenomenon you could call ice damming. And as you can see, I don't have gutters. My home inspector said I needed gutters. I researched it and said, no, actually, that's not a good idea. And here's why. Look at that ice dam. Wow. Look at how thick that ice is. Now that ice is going and creeping up under my soffit and fascia, wouldn't it? Yeah, look at that. You can see along my roof line, I got a bit of a dam here. But nothing compared to what we have in our gutter. Look at how much worse that dam is. Just look at that intense buildup back there. So, and you look at the size of the icicles coming from my roof that are actively dripping now, which is good, compared to this giant backup here in my gutter. Now, one of the reasons also that I don't have gutters is because I am not an A-frame home. I have equal roof shed on all four sides because I have, I'm not an A-frame like this house here. If you come around the side of my home, I have a hipped roof, and so I get this equal shed. There's my hip up there. Equal shed along all sides. So gutters aren't too necessary when you have this kind of thing going on, because all the water from my home is equal on all sides. Gutters, if you have an A-frame, you're gonna get concentration problems, where you have, all your shed is concentrated on two sides of the homes, whereas the hip roof, it's four sides. So that's why I don't have gutters in my home, is because look at this catastrophe. Imagine if this whole thing here were imagine that backed up all along my roof. Yeah. And so gutters on your home are not necessary in some forms of constructions and roof types. You can also see that my home is a rancher, which means that we have these big eaves. Now that can make ice damming worse because that's not insulated. It doesn't have, it's got the vents going on and can have a lot of freezing there. Freezes solid, unlike your attic necessarily. But you can see how having gutters all along all four sides of my home would be a pretty serious problem if I had gutters on this home. I do need more insulation in my attic. Unfortunately, the flippers put in bucket lights, which drills holes in the attic. And of course, they aren't going to insulate those properly. So I'm hoping to get rid of those to alleviate the problem, but also just get some more insulation up there. But in the meantime, just wanted to give a heads up on why gutters may not be necessary in all cases, and I chose against it, and I'm glad I never put up gutters, because I imagine that this right here, that gutter is all plugged up with ice right now and seeping under the roof, versus mine where the shed is currently active. It is dripping everywhere along my roof line and not backing up into these massive chunks there. Yeah, so just a heads up on gutters and the research I did on it, and that maybe it's in some cases and in some climates, we got well draining soil here, fortunately. So, when it comes to these wide eave ranch houses, if you have a hipped roof, it may not be necessary to get gutters, and especially in a harsh climate, that could probably cause a little more problems. So, in any case, little education on gutters, and remember, folks, people will pitch you anything to sell their product to you, and it's not necessarily in your best interest. So do your research, think ahead of time, pull that logic out of your pocket, and do what's in your best interest. There are a lot of lies companies will give you to sell their products that are not necessarily a good idea.